Big shout out to Dynamic Machine of Detroit for sponsoring this video and the channel. So, in today's video, we are going to be going over a polygon milling macro that will use a while statement inside of a while statement to run a loop over and over and over to make any shape you can think of. You can do a step over or you can do no step over, and we're going to be going over everything you need to know to make it work. Now, it's important to note, this program is in the description down below. So simply copy and paste it into your program and then follow these steps we're about to go over. And yeah, you can make this macro work in your machine. So let's get into it. So, copy this program from the description below, get yourself a coffee, grab some popcorn, whatever it is you need to get through this, because once you get this in your machine, you're gonna wanna start by understanding how pound 701 works. So, starting with pound 701, that is the diameter of your flat. Now, what does that mean? Before I start pointing at all this stuff, just imagine in this example, we are doing a 2-inch diameter hexagon, meaning, when I say diameter, from one flat to the other, if you were to measure it, that's how big the shape would be. So, 701 is going to be this right here. If you're doing a hexagon, it's going to be from one flat to the next. Now, the next one is pound 702. That is going to be the full diameter of your end mill. So right here, I've drawn a little end mill for you. That's pound 702, the width of your end mill. The next one is pretty important here. It's the sides of your shape. Now, you can make a triangle, a square, a hexagon, whatever, but you need to make sure you understand how many sides there are to each one of those shapes. So if you're doing a triangle, the number is 3, in case you don't know that. Square is 4, in case you don't know that, and hexagon is 6. If you don't understand that concept, then maybe get into like pottery or something, because you're not. So the next one is pound 704. That is your lead-in. Now, it's important that you understand that later on in the macro, we are going to be calculating the exact start point of your milling. So 704 is going to give you a little bit, it's going to give you a choice to start a little bit further away from that start point or really far away from that start point, depending on the number you put in here. So 704 is your lead in, that's this right here. So 705, the next one is going to be your lead out. Now, we also calculated the point on the other side of the flat you're going to be milling, and 705 gives you the option to either put a positive or negative number in there. So if you put a positive number, you will go way out into space. If you put a negative number, you will stop early. Now, why stop early? Well, because typically when you're machining a hexagon, you are already done cutting before the center of the end mill gets to this point. So when I made this hexagon for this video, you'll notice I stop a little early. That's because the shape's already done being milled. Just kind of something I always do. So I gave you the choice, positive or negative number for your lead out. So these next 3 variables aren't on this board because they are in the literal visual plane that this camera is looking at right now, and that would be Z. So we are going this way with these next 3 variables. Now, it's important to note that these variables are programmed off the edge of the end mill, not the center of the end mill. So if I say 0, I am literally at Z of 0 with the edge of my end mill. So let's get into them. The first one is going to be pound 706. This is going to be the start point in Z. So right here I have minus 0.150. That means if I were to measure from the face of my part to where this is milling at, I would literally have a 150 thousandths wide flat. The next one is going to be your end point. This is going to be minus 1 inch. So again, going back to the hexagon I made in this video, I started at minus 150, I ended at Z of 1 inch. To the person editing this, please play that so they can see kind of what that looks like. Anyways, the step over I'm going to do, which is each time I mill a flat and I keep going and going and going, the step over I'm going to do is 150 thousandths. Now, there is a choice you have with this macro that we're gonna go over in detail later, where what if you just wanna mill one flat at a certain position? So let's say you wanna do that. Let's say you don't wanna step over, you just wanna drop into a position, mill a flat, rotate, and just keep milling one flat per side. That is an option. Make your step over 0. And then what it's going to do is it's going to mill just one line at your Z endpoint. If you choose to do this, your Z start point won't matter. It will never go to that position. So it's just an option. Again, we're gonna go over in detail later, but if you wanna just do one pass, make your step over a 0, and then just program the appropriate endpoint, and you'll be fine. Now, the last variable you need to worry about is your feed rate, which is pretty self-explanatory, how fast you wanna go. Put that number right there. The next thing we need to talk about is the math for how I'm finding the points over here. It's very, very simple trigonometry, but we'll go over it anyways. So, pound 710 is the tangent of 360 divided by pound 703. So the amount of sides of your shape, so 360 divided by 6 will be 60. So the tangent of 360 divided by 60 divided by 2, because we only want half of that. So we just want 30 degrees, the tangent of 30 degrees, times 701 divided by 2, our diameter divided by 2 will get us the tangent of 30 degrees times this right here will get us the y distance from the center of our, don't want to screw up the dry erase board, will get us the distance from the center of our hexagon to this point right here. And we're gonna need this to determine our other things, like our lead-in and where we're gonna start cutting and whatnot. Now, the other thing I wanted to calculate was this distance, because you'll notice when I'm done milling, I will wrap it up, and then as I wrap it over in Y, I rotate, which means we need to clear for the high point of this hexagon. So we need to find this right here. Well, that, simple trig as well. Pound 711 is going to equal pound 701 divided by 2, so our diameter divided by 2, so again, we're getting this part of the triangle, divided by the cosine of 360 divided by 703 divided by 2. So again, we're doing very similar trig just to find the other part of the triangle. We're taking 360, dividing it by 703, which is the sides of our shape, but that will get us 60 degrees. We need to divide that by 2 just to get this, and that will get that line right there. Hope that made sense. The next one is going to be 712, that's 0. That's gonna be a reset. Again, you have to remember the machine will store all these variables, so if you run this and then you run it again, because you have the crazy idea to make more than one part one day, you wanna reset the variables so when this rereads itself, it doesn't just skip all the logic we're about to go over. So after that, 713 equals 706 plus 702 divided by 2. So if you don't put 0 in your step over, like you put an actual number for your step over, the last pass that would have been calculated if you ran this before this would be at the last pass before your final pass. So we need to make sure when you run it the next time, it restarts the step over logic at the beginning, which is based off the side of your end mill, not the center of your end mill. So basically this is finding your first Z for your first step over pass. And that's why it's labeled reset. Yeah, so that's actually everything you need to know for using this macro to mill a hexagon. This next part of this video is for, I think, people who enjoy pain and suffering, because we're gonna go over this whole thing in detail. So, how does this macro work? Okay, so if you downloaded the program from the comments below this video, you will have something that looks like this, except for it might be a little bit different, and that is because it's not on a dry erase board. I only have so much room I can work with here, so I wrote everything horizontally, but you'll see I have red end blocks here. Just imagine these lines are vertical, and then, now we're working together. So, what am I doing here? Well, what I really want to focus on is how I did a while statement inside of a while statement to give me a lot of options with this macro. So, why do it this way, right? Well, we have two things we want to loop. We have an amount of flats, and we have an amount of step overs that we might want to do on each flat. And because I want to have it so I can mill just one pass if I want, I can't really do that inside of one while statement. So I need to write two sets of conditions for this thing to loop in and out of to do all these options. So let's go over it. Your first while statement is basically the amount of flats you're doing. Whether it's one pass or multiple passes, this first while statement is controlling the amount of flats. Now, the second while statement inside of that is going to control the amount of step overs you do to make that flat. So that's really all that's going on here, right? And the reason why you can tell that's what's going on is because the first while statement is while 712 is less than pound 703, we know pound 703 is the amount of flats that we want to do, and 712 is a reset, so that's going to be 0 the first time it reads that. And that is what makes this the flat logic, right? Now, when you look at here, you'll notice these variables have to do with the end mill, my start point, and my end point. That's kind of just what goes into all this logic here. I don't want to go over every single variable and why I put it on here. This video will be 2 hours long. You just really need to understand that's how this logic works. Now, there's one thing you might be wondering, or not wondering, I'm going to tell you anyways. How did I make it so it only does one pass? Well, if you look up here, you have the one pass logic. And what this is going to do is it's gonna look at pound 708. Now that's your step over. So if you put 0 in your step over, it isn't gonna skip this. Because right now, if you put any number in there, 1 thou, 20 thou, 4 millimeters, whatever it is you put in there, it's gonna not be equal to 0. That's what this NE means, not equal. So if pound 708 is not equal to 0, go to 6969. It's gonna jump whoop, right here, and it's gonna skip these two things. Now, what are these two things? Well, they're the resets to kind of trick this to make it so if you did put 0 in pound 708, so you want 0 step over, it won't jump to 6969, and it will trick both these variables right here. So it'll say pound 706 equals pound 707. Pound 713 equals pound 707. So when it reads this while statement, it will be tricked into saying, oh, I don't need to do a step over. So what it does is it jumps out of the second while statement. Wow, it just got wildly quieter in here. The heater went off. Hope that doesn't sound terrible. But it will jump out of the second while statement and it will just do the finish pass. And that's kind of how I worked around this problem, right? I want to be able to do a step over or no step over. So basically I put the finish pass inside of the first while statement. Even if you do a step over, the finish pass is still going to happen outside of the second while statement. That way, no matter what, even if I skip this, it's still going to do that finish pass. And that's kind of how I tricked this double while statement to give you the option to do that. Now, one really important thing here, if you ever do a while statement inside of a while statement like this, I've said that like 50 times in this video. While statement inside of a while statement. While statement, first while statement, the first while statement, second while statement. Wow. You need to make sure you have the same resets that you had before you got into all this inside of your first while statement down here at the bottom. Because think about it, right? It says while 713 is greater than 707 plus 702 divided by 2, it's looking at the logic for your start point and your end point. Well, every single time I do that, I add to 713. So 713 now equals what it needs to be greater than this. I jump out of that, I then do my finish pass, I then rotate my spindle to do my next flat. When it hits this while statement the second time, that logic is still gonna be filled up. So it's just gonna do the finish pass. So to make sure it repeats itself appropriately, you need to make sure you put the appropriate resets inside of your first while statement. Now this can get tricky. This is a little bit more, I'd say this is, like a 5 out of 10 on the macro complexity scale. But these are the kind of things you need to think about if you're gonna jump in and out of multiple things at once. How are they starting? How are they gonna be used? And then how are they gonna have to finish? Yeah, it's a whole topic in and its own. But yeah, so cool. Polygons, polygon milling macro, while statements inside of while statements. It's quite magical what you can do with macros. Honestly, I don't ever plan on stop making macro videos like this for you guys. So if there's something in particular that you would like me to solve, a problem you have at your shop, for example, then comment down below. Let me know what you'd like me to do. Other than that, I think I'm gonna go eat a salad today. I think I need to eat a salad. It's getting out of control with the candy. So I'm gonna go eat a salad. Have a good one.